congratulations on I Came By.
Thank you. Thanks for watching it.
This was an idea that you've been sitting with for a while. You dreamed this up 20 years ago. Why now?
Very interesting question. I came up with it when I was at film school, and I wrote it down. It was like just a page, and I thought it could make a good first film. It was far more simpler back in the days. It was like very contained in my head. Obviously, things changed, and I made a different first film. But I went back to my old ideas, and I came across it after doing my first film, and I was like, this is a good one to explore now. And it's funny with the themes that it explores as well. Even though I came up with it in my early 20s, it's still very timely, and which again, and very relevant, which made me realize that it's almost like in some ways timeless, because these type of things keep on happening in the world. So yeah.
The scary thing is, I suppose 20-something you would have hoped that 20 years later, this isn't a conversation we'd still be having, I'd say.
For sure. And it's very interesting because the original idea was far more earnest, and the character of Toby and Jay, played by George and Purcell, they have a bit of me in there, and a lot of my friends from uni, based on the conversations we had, like the ideas that we had to change the world and like be radicals. But then as I aged, I realized that real world is far more complex than that, and which is why I think it's good that it took a bit of a time for me to like sort of like have a break and then go back and revisit it, because then I think I managed to layer it a bit more, if that makes sense.
Completely. In the pitch for this movie, you said you wanted to do a double Psycho. Yeah. Talk me through that.
This one, I'm going to be very careful with this because it's very spoiler territory.
Oh, that's why I'm asking you, and I'm not doing any of this talking.
So I think the inspiration is like genuinely not just like Psycho, because like I think Rear Window and Psycho, both of them are my favorite Hitchcock films, and then Vertigo comes quite close, but Rear Window and Psycho. And I really wanted to sort of like getting inspired by the master, like try this way of storytelling of like maybe shifting point of views as the story develops, and it was a challenge, and it was a learning curve to do that with my co-writer Namzi Khan, but I think it was worth it. I learned a lot doing it. It was like a genuine jigsaw puzzle, and not just like in terms of like shifting point of views, but also how to come up with twists and turns and like try to surprise the audience whenever possible, even with our casting Hugh Bonneville for
yes, not what I expected when I see Hugh on screen.
Yeah, he's such a brave man for wanting to do something new, and I think he does a brilliant job. And then the moment he came on board, he sent me this lovely message saying, I'm really looking forward to creating this monster with you. And honestly, I may do more monster movies in the future, but I think Hugh Bonneville will remain my favorite monster. Not Hugh Bonneville, Hector Blake. Bonneville, the loveliest person in the real world, and such a great collaborator.
I think that's why this worked, because you go in, I was just talking to Kelly MacDonald there, and I said, I went into this and I really wanted to watch it because of everything, everyone attached to it and stuff. And I just went, I have no idea what I'm watching, but it's Hugh Bonneville, so it's going to be something lovely. And then it starts, I'm like, yeah, no. And I think that's why it works as well. Obviously, you've got an amazing script there, but it works because of the sense of surprise. The element of surprise starts as soon as it starts.
Ah, brilliant. Thank you. That's such a great compliment. And of course, I was like blessed with the other cast members as well, like Kelly MacDonald, George Mackay, wonderful George, and Purcell Ascot. I think it ended up being like I'm so lucky. It's a great British ensemble, and it's an ensemble film, so really helps having these wonderful actors having your back, right?
Yeah, completely. But as we said, you came up with this 20 years ago. It finally sort of was getting the green light. And then it sat in development for 5 years. How do you deal with that? Like, I like stuff to be done. And if you say it's going to be done, it needs to be done now. But you're going, no, okay, we've got to wait 5 years.
No, I mean, to be honest with you, it wasn't waiting those 5 years. It was like in constant in development. So it was, in some ways, I think it gave me the time to really be able to piece it together properly and layer it, and like, rather than like rushing it. So, you know, I set it up with Film 4, and I developed it with Film 4, and they were like always encouraging me to think out of the box. And then when Netflix came on board to fully finance it, they continued to do the same. And it was just such a, you know, it was such a, you know, I'm so lucky that like all the execs in the studio and people behind it were all aligned. Everyone wanted to make something unexpected, something that it's not, you know. And that's a wonderful thing about streamers like Netflix, because, you know, in this day and age with cinemas being dominated by like tentpoles and franchises, I think places like Netflix allow filmmakers
Yes.
to think out of the box and, you know, make brave choices, which is wonderful, because these are, you know, growing up in the 90s, those are the films that inspire me, like Fincher films or, you know, Spike Jonze films. Like, you rarely see those things unless it's a streamer backing you. Yeah.
Well, it's a great thing as well that you get both experiences, if you like, because it's a limited run at cinemas, and then you have the streaming service as well, and it makes it accessible to so many more people too.
100%. I'm so humbled that Netflix backed it for limited theatrical in the UK, because it's also at the same time that it's great to watch it at home, and like also around the world at the same time, everyone get to watch it. It's also a fun film to watch in a dark theater with an audience, because it has its own its moments. So you know, like you said, I'm getting best of both worlds, which, you know, I'm very happy about.
So Babak, how do you follow this?
How do I follow this? Interesting question. Hopefully, no, trying to always look. I always, like, my motto as a filmmaker is that I always try to make the films that you as an audience would go and watch, like that excites you. You know, a film that you watch the trailer, you see the poster, you go, I want to know what this is about. And
Yeah.
and hopefully, if I stick with that, I can, you know, hopefully always try to make interesting films and be brave, make brave choices. You know, that's all I can do. Like, you know, see how people react.
Well, I can't wait, because I thoroughly enjoyed this, was freaked out, but I also loved that I'm walking away thinking about stuff. You make films for entertainment and conversation starters, which are important.
That's really important to me, and that's a huge compliment. Thank you so much. You know, even like with choosing Tears for Fears over the end credits, you know, I always, like, when I was coming up with this, the idea of this film, I was like, I want to do what that track does, which on the surface, everyone thinks it's just like a pop track from the 80s, but the lyrics is actually about, you know, like desire for power and the misery that it brings to people. And it's has like very serious issues that it's like tackling. So I was like, if I can do that with this film, make an entertaining thriller, but have like with an underlying themes to explore, that would be great. So I'm very, very pleased to hear that you feel this way.
You did it. Congratulations. Can't wait to see what you do next.
Thank you so much.